Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learning the London System series. And today I'm going to talk about a specific line in the system in which it goes as d4, d5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop f4, c5, e3, e3 just maintaining the wall. Again, don't play c3. If you saw my game in the last video, you saw how c3 just messes up the position. So bishop g4, knight b d2, e6, c6, c3 now. C3 just to make the bridge, which I was talking about in my few videos in the starting. Bishop comes to e7, bishop d3, knight comes to c6, queen c2. Now we've got our basic setup. Black just has these pawns like this. We have our bridge. Bishop and queen have a good battery. Knight just gets this nice e4 square covered. Nice piece. This knight is just ready to hop on both sides of the board. Next to him, I'm just going to castle, bring the rook to e1, and have a comfortable position. But here, black plays a move which is very common as black, and it's not a bad move for black. It's a move black can play, but it's just a different variation which you have to get used to. Black plays c4. c4 you will not see commonly, but it's actually a good move for black. With c4, there's some complications as white. So first move which you see is you have to move your bishop back. And after moving your bishop back, the most common move with black is just castle. And now if you see the position, it feels like black is extremely strong. And black has a clear attack to go b4, b5, b5, b4, and then a5. And black has a clear plan to go on the queen side. In this position, it feels like white is on no sides. Like this bishop is now looks dead. This knight is still okay active. This knight looks dead by all the pawns. So it feels like this position is extremely bad for white. But then white has this amazing move, which is e4. After e4, everything just changes. Now the structure starts to look a bit dubious, because if you take, I feel like the c4 pawn can be hard for black to defend, but it's not a problem to take. And if black doesn't take, because that if you feel like, okay, the most common move is to play takes, and then knight takes. And now if you see the position is just suddenly improved. This knight is now active, which was dead here. This pawn is now weak. Bishop has something to hit. This bishop on f4 was just always active. And now the knight is always active. So now I've just improved three of my pieces at the same time, which is a good thing. But many people believe that black won't just take the pawn. Why would black need to take the pawn? And black plays some move like b5, which is it's possible. We have a simple move which is e5. After e5, knight comes to a5. Knight d7 is possible, but I feel like the knight is pretty dead here. You have barely any squares. Unless you want to transfer, it can work. But you have to be an extremely strategical player to understand that plan. Knight a5, normal move. Bishop comes back. Takes. So you have basically exchanged a bad knight, which could be on d7, for your bad bishop, which is currently not doing anything because of this whole line. It feels like it's very double-edged, but I feel this position can be okay for white because you have an open rook file. Clear threat, you're threatening mate in one with your queen. Only problem in this position is this bishop. It's slightly passive. It's hitting this rocks. So in this position, black, the most common move is just to play h6. Here you just play a nice simple move because you feel like this knight is not doing anything. You just simply bring this knight out here. You're just trying to force this knight to exchange for this bishop. Force these two bishops to exchange. These two bishops are, since this bishop is slightly better than my bishop, because my bishop was dead, and after exchange, king takes. Obviously, if you're thinking as black, why would black take this? No, black will not take that knight, because taking that knight would basically lead to losing defense on the king side. Because after takes, rook takes. White has a clear plan. Rook comes here, g4, knight f3, g5. This position is clear better for white now. So white cannot take that knight. And if you feel that the knight is again dubious there's actually not a big problem of the knight just being there. Because you just keep the knight as a waiting thing, so you avoid any h5, g4 ideas just stopping this rook file. So you just simply bring your knight, you bring your rook. It's like a small waiting move. Then you bring the knight back to f3, and you go g4, g4, g5. Clear attack on the king side. It's going to be extremely hard for black to defend. So this is basically the plan we have with this move c4, which looks extremely dubious, but not a bad idea. The other idea after c4, bishop e2, castle, and when we play e5, they start feeling that they start feeling after takes, knight takes, they play b5. In this position as b5, why should you be complaining as white? You have this knight c4 square, which you cannot get right now because of the bishop, but you have some good control. Your bishop is fully active. This important square on b8 is covered by your bishop because this rook cannot develop and push the b pawn. The only plan black has currently is to push these pawns because there's nothing really much to do. This bishop can come back, but it's basically not helpful because currently it's right now my move. And a good move for me might just be here to bring this knight back. Like knight comes back, bishop takes. Because again, this bishop's a bad bishop. It's hitting a rock. So anytime you get the opportunity to trade these bishops, always do so. So after takes, king takes. Your king can castle, yes. But there is no attack on the king side because you have solid cover of this square on e5. Your knights are basically helping your king. And it's you who has just h4, h5 ideas. This is a clear position where I could say white is just better. Anytime you feel like your king is unsafe, just bring your rook here to f1 or g1. Bring the king on d2. It's solid there. You really don't want, like, it feels like the safest place for your king here is in the middle. You can go to the queen side because your rook has just, sorry, king side, because there's no point of bringing your rook here. That's just playing, it's playing too passive. I think you need to counterattack. And if you bring your king to the queen side, thinking rook here, and then bringing it to c1, b1, you might run into some ideas. And second thing, you're losing a lot of time with that move. So I feel like this is not a good idea. It's just this position, which is extremely solid. Other move is just black doesn't take, bishop comes back. Now you see how important this knight is just being here and defending. Now I feel like you have a nice move. It's a pawn sacrifice. It's to play g4. If you play g4, possible moves, knight takes knight. Knight takes knight, you play knight takes back. Bishop has to move now and you can't even win the pawn. The only way you think you can win the bishop is knight takes. But then after knight takes, we have ideas of bishop takes, f3, bishop comes back. You bring your knight to f2. Clear idea, rook comes to g1, h4, h5. No one's stopping that. You have a clear, better position. And if you feel like your queen's not doing anything after getting, queen just comes here. Queen just comes to d1, comes to f1, comes to g2, and you have a small maneuvering attack. But it feels like black can't do anything about it because this knight, there's no way this knight's coming over there. This knight's basically not there. This knight has no chance. This pawn is covered. Moving the bishop is not possible. You just have too many attacks here. So this knight is just going to stay there. Bishop is the only piece, but how are you going to bring it out? You have to bring it here. So the queen can't even come, and nor the bishop. You can try bishop f3, some moves like that, but they won't really help because after knight takes and then pawn takes, you just have a clear, nice, understandable position for white. So yeah, this was today's video. I hope you liked it, and please like, share, and subscribe. And the next video is possibly going to be a game which I might have played in this similar variation, or just Puzzle Rush. So please check that out too when I post that. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.